YouTube world, fight fans across the YouTube world. Bow! I salute you. Nocturnal Thoughts, Boxing After Dark. I'm your host, Nocturnal. What it is, what it do. Look, man, real quick video, getting out the way. It comes a point in time in your life. If you are a reasonable, logical person that lives his life in reality, it comes a point in time when you have to realize that there are certain people that mentally are delusional. They do exist and they are delusional because you sometimes, as a logical thinking person with common knowledge and common sense, when you see someone that's operating in a delusional way, you can't believe it. You sit and you say, nobody can possibly be that naive. Nobody can possibly be that illogical. Nobody could possibly be that delusional. So you say it's an act. It has to be an act. This can't be serious. Like, where is the camera? You know what I'm saying? Like, is somebody punking me? Am I on candid camera? You know what I'm saying? And then you have a moment of clarity. And what brought that moment today for me, you know what I'm saying? Today, I was watching Danny Garcia in his media workout before he fought Errol Spence. And I'm watching him and the way he's moving around the ring and throwing his punches. And my attention goes to Angel Garcia. And I'm watching him jumping out around the ring, and I thought that he was just doing some shadow boxing. And I thought that he was, just doing a show for the cameras to do some shadow boxing for Danny Garcia to that's just their kind of relationship. Like I'm just my son is doing a real shadow boxing and I'm just kind of playing around, right? And then I noticed what he was actually doing because I had the volume down low. I wasn't listening to with the volume up. I had the volume down low. And then what I realized what he was doing is he was mocking and he was imitating his version of Errol Spence. Like he was making fun of Errol Spence high guard. Like his high guard was like he had a trash high guard. Then he was making fun of his jab. He was acting like Errol Spence's jab was trash. Like he just kind of sticks it out and hops in. He was doing like this. He was doing this. And he was doing this. And then I turned up a little bit and I'm listening. I'm like, this dude was talking this much shit about Errol Spence like he was trash as a fighter. And I'm thinking to myself, this dude is delusional. All the man, you know what I'm saying? All that I thought was just all the acting, the show, entertainment. All the stuff he said leading up to the fight, I thought was entertainment. Even the stuff he said after the fight, post fight, to me showed delusion. But I'm thinking, you just took an L. And sometimes when somebody loses, it takes a while for their mind to be able to digest that ass whooping they just ate. So I give you the benefit of the doubt. He's like, Danny Garcia was sitting there saying, look, man, the biggest difference in that fight was his jab. I really wasn't prepared for it. And Angel Garcia's like, hey, it wasn't the jab. It was the fact that you wasn't listening and doing what you can do. You waited to the 12th round to do what you could do. And I'm like, you got your guy sitting here, Danny Garcia, telling you the reason why I lost this fight is because of this guy jab. And you are in a delusional state of mind where you say, it wasn't the jab, it was you. I'm so disappointed in you for what you did. And I thought that was just sour grapes. So when I'm watching, get that out of my way. When I'm watching the media workout and Angel Garcia, the way he's jumping around the ring and imitating Errol Spence, it just had a clarity epiphany moment when I'm like, no, man, this dude really, really believed that Danny Garcia was at the elite level to be able to beat Errol Spence. Like he really was delusionally thinking. I watched the way Danny Garcia trained, and he only has one gear. The way he trained, even with his weightlifting, with his punching, with everything he do it where I'm like, maybe he just warming up, maybe he just holding back for the cameras, and he's waiting until he get into the actual fight before he starts to display his true talent. But no, what you see is what you get. Errol Spence, it's more than meets the eye. Danny Garcia, what you see is what you get. And he only has one gear. And I feel like his father just never accepted him for what he was. A great fighter, but not elite. You know what I'm saying? So, I'm like, he's delusional. Like Mikey Garcia. Mikey Garcia, I see something. I see something that I feel like I can exploit. Me and Errol Spence are similar, but I think I do everything better. I have a better ring IQ. I see something in Spence. And I'm sitting here like, man, this is delusional. Now, I give you props because you're going up in weight class. I give Danny Garcia props because he stepped into the challenge and he was game and he was a live dog in the fight. And, you know, I salute all fighters, dedicate themselves to the sport, show the discipline. Like Angel Garcia said, you know, my son don't have no tattoos. He don't drink and drive. He don't do no drugs. You know what I'm saying? This, that, and the third. Man, I salute that all day. Pop, 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 pop. Many salutes. Thousands of salutes. But at the end of the day, man, you still got to be able to look at your son and analyze and know exactly who he is. You know what I'm saying? And you got to be able to look at Errol Spence and see what he is. And even if you feel like your son can win, you still should be telling your son ways he can win that's logical. Logical. Not, you know, a wing and a prayer or some delusional, your whole life, people been telling you the sky is blue. And then when you get older, you realize that the sky is purple. That type of logic, that paradigm, is like delusion. Mikey Garcia, delusion. Terrence Bud Crawford. This is the title of this video. Discipline was the only way, was his biggest advantage. I feel like all this whole discussion all the time between Errol Spence and Terrence Bud Crawford, his only shot at being able to beat Errol Spence is the fact that Terrence Bud Crawford was super disciplined. Right? You know, he was disciplined to his craft, right? That's why when they asked, you know what I'm saying, his trainer, when they asked, what's his name? Yeah, I don't know his name slipped me right now. I wanted to say B-Mac. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. But they asked his trainer, B-Mac, like, what you think about Errol Spence? And he was like, well, you know, as far as I know, a drunk, Niggas ain't shit. Like, you know what I'm saying? Basically, like saying he's not dedicated. You know, he has a vice that's going to compromise his ability to perform in the ring at the elite level. You know what I'm saying? A drunk, Niggas ain't shit. That's what his response was. And I feel like that's what they talk about between him and Terrence Bud Crawford. That's what they talked about the most when it came to Errol Spence, is he's not dedicated to the craft. He's not dedicated to the sport. We've seen some regression when he fought Mikey Garcia. We've seen some regression when he fought Sean Porter. Right? And when I look at it and I really analyze it, you know what I'm saying, from that point of view, I had to give the nod to Terrence Bud Crawford when it came to discipline, because Errol Spence, out of his own admission, was saying, I started getting comfortable. I started uh, doing things a different way than what I was doing before I got to this level. We all know how he reset, and we all know where he's at right now, where he completely dedicated himself to his craft, eating, sleeping, and shitting, defecating, pooping, bowel movement, number two, deuce, stool, waste, whatever you want to call it. That's what was coming out of him, was boxing. Eating boxing, discipline. He watched his diet. He didn't balloon up in weight. He wasn't eating greasy food. He wasn't going down to you know what I'm saying, the turkey leg and you know what I'm saying, indulging in food. He ate properly. He was eating whole foods and almonds and things of that nature and staying close to his welterweight class. Dedicated, discipline. He was disciplined in his regimen of sleep. Wasn't out partying, wasn't out hanging out, wasn't out, you know what I'm saying, jeopardizing his sleeping schedule. Go to the gym, eat, go to sleep. Sleeping, eating, sleeping, boxing. Training, eating, sleeping, training, eating, sleeping. Therefore, his defecation was boxing. 100% discipline, dedicated to the craft. Terrence Bud Crawford lost that edge. What's left after that from Terrence Bud Crawford is delusion. Because I'm seeing delusion from Terrence Bud Crawford when he's going on a rant talking about what's making these welterweights, you know, elite level. If they fight me and I beat them, that makes them elite, right? Jeff Horn was elite, right? Amir Khan was elite when I beat him, right? Jose Benavidez, Agitas Kovalauskas, Kell Brook. What's the difference with me beating him than when I don't see how Terrence Bud Crawford can't see through the smoke and mirrors of his resume in the welterweight division. It makes me think that Terrence Bud Crawford has to be slightly delusional if he can't really analyze his welterweight resume and see the critique in every opponent he's faced where they've been handicapped in one way, shape, form, or fashion, or mismatched. Like Jeff Horn. Anybody could look at Jeff Horn and say that dude is rough, he's rugged, but he's basic, straight up and down, no special effects, not a threat to somebody that has the skill set of Terrence Bud Crawford. That's not to say anything negative about Terrence Bud Crawford. That's just to say Terrence Bud Crawford, with the boxing eye test, being this elite boxer that he is, ambidextrous, and you know what I'm saying, with the best instincts and reflexes in the game, he should be able to look at Jeff Horn and see he's not the caliber opponent that's going to bring the best out of me. Never mind that he, you know, won a fight against Manny Pacquiao. Then Terrence Bud Crawford should be able to look at Jose Benavidez and say, this dude has been shot in the knee. He should be able to look at Amir Khan and say, Amir Khan came and quit. Amir Khan took a couple of punches. He was light on his ass. His chin is shot to shit. I mean, he got like the Glass Joe on Mike Tyson punch out, the first person you fight before you even know how to play the game, when you can beat Glass Joe just pressing A, B, A, B. We know Amir Khan was a fighter that had no chance against Terrence Bud Crawford, period, point blank. And Terrence Bud Crawford knows this. And if he don't know that, he's delusional. The only person I can say had a legitimate chance, if he not had been on the couch for a year, was Agitas Kovalauskas. And Agitas Kovalauskas knocked him down in the third round. If you don't want to believe that you got knocked down in the third round by Agitas Kovalauskas and that made you say, I'm going to knock this dude out, you delusional. If you can't see that if he can't see that for himself. And last but not least, if he really can't look at his fight against Kell Brook and see that is not the same version of Kell Brook that fought Sean Porter. That's not the version of Kell Brook that fought Errol Spence. And he can't see that and say, I beat a 100% version of Kell Brook. That is suffering from delusion. another form of delusion that I feel like he's suffering from, and it's right at the tip. Oh, I had this thought. I had this thought from what I was saying when he, beat that version of Kell Brook that fought Sean Porter, that fought. This is what I was going to say. Matter of fact, it just came right back to me. Wow. If he cannot accept, the fact that he needs to fight before he even thinks about fighting Errol Spence and, Manny Pacquiao, whatever, before he fights at Errol Spence, if he can't see that it would be wise, it would behoove him to fight a Sean Porter, to fight a Keith Thurman, to fight a Danny Garcia. If he can't see that it would behoove him to fight these guys before he tried to fight Errol Spence, then he is suffering from some form of delusion. Therefore, when I look at Spence versus Terrence Bud Crawford, I'm looking at a very, very focused and disciplined version of Errol Spence against a delusional version of Terrence Bud Crawford. That's my thoughts on it. Let me know what you think about it in the comments below. It's Nocturnal Thoughts, man. Be blessed. Happy Friday. Have a good weekend. If you're new to the channel, take your finger, touch the phone where it says subscribe, hit the notification bell, and holla back at Nocturnal. Peace. Salute.